Hello again. Hello again. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Looked like my mic wasn't recording. Usually do the testing 1, 2, 3. Anyway, so in my last video, I spent a lot of time fighting with Firebase to get like authentication working and stumbled through that. And then at the end of it, I put together this diagram talking about the plan for how to get my command line client talking to my server. The idea is that the server would be hosted by me, and then the users of my system will have things running on their own machine, and they need to log in and let us know who it is. Also, even on my own system, you as the user could be logged in, and the idea is you're writing, you're being challenged to write programs, and so you have to write programs that pass tests. The tests are automated, and so you need a test runner. That's what rogo is. Rogo is the server and the client for running the tests. And say we want to run it on a like a container or something on my side. I'll fire up a container, but I need to tell it like who's logged in, who's, and so on. And so the client would be installed on the container. You'd have like a page where you could type in some like Rust code or something, and then the container would fire up with all that Rust code there, run it through the compiler, and then run the code, but run it through the rogo client. So then the client would talk to the server and say, hey, you passed this test or you didn't. And so that's where that's going to happen. And then likewise, if you want to use an environment that isn't in the cloud, so either I haven't yet set up a container for your language, or you just for whatever reason don't want to use it, or you're running your own rogo server and you want to set up your own testing business or whatever, then you would want somebody to well, basically you'd want to run the thing locally. So yeah, that's it. I need some way to have the command line client talk to the server, and in the process, log into the system and get some kind of information back saying like who you are. So if a server is there, it is that at any point in time, the server can give you a token, one of these JWT tokens, JavaScript Web Token, JavaScript Web Token, JWT, I think, JSON Web Token, sorry. And they're basically just a little chunk of data, a chunk of, I guess it's probably base 64 encoded data, and that is actually, well, it's whatever the encoding is, right? It actually, contains information corresponding to these 3 chunks of JavaScript. So you've got the red part, which is this header, and then any kind of JSON data can go in here, name, red, and then that purple part gets turned into this purple part right here, and then I guess it's dot separated. Okay, so, and then this signature at the bottom changes as you, the signature changes as you change this. So that's so that you can verify that you were actually the one that generated the thing, and so you can trust it, basically. So that's the idea of a JSON Web Token, and that's what we're going to give to the client. So the rogo client is going to have one of those, but it has to fetch it by telling the server that it wants to log in. So in the container scenario, we just like put that file, that little JWT file, on the container and then run it. I don't know exactly how that works yet, but I think it's pretty straightforward to do that. Because we can, the containers in a trusted environment, we can tell it who we are. So basically, we want to get to the state where the client has one of these tokens that is ready to go, that is authenticated and ready to go. So we need to, the workflow that I'm envisioning here, that I've kind of worked out at the end of the last video, was the client is going to talk to the server and ask it to get this pre-token. So that's probably another JWT or something like that. But whatever it is, it's some random string that we then send back to the server in a browser. So we're going to say import in Python. We're going to say import web browser, dot open this URL, and then the URL pops up, and then you can log in, and it's going to have this token, this pre-token in here. And so basically that was just like some random number. So we don't know who you are. It's an anonymous token, but it's tied to that particular login request or whatever. And so then we open that in the browser with that passed in the URL. And then it sends a message back to the server. So now you're talking to the server from both the client and the browser. Command line client, and the browser is also a client. But we send that pre-token back, and it says, oh, you want to log in? So let's log in, and you get the JavaScript to log in, and that talks to whatever your authentication system is. So basically, this area over here is all managed by some other system externally, but I just happened to pick Firebase off the shelf, and I spent 2 hours getting it set up. 5 minutes last time I tried it. Now this time it took 2 hours. But I got that working, and so now I can log in through like GitHub and Gmail or Google and Facebook and those kinds of things. And then, however you do it, once you're logged in, you'll get some little piece of information that says, okay, here's who the user is, and then we can give that back now to the client. So at that point, we have to kind of like verify this, because this is just like we have to verify that, probably there's a step missing here where the rogo server has to talk to Firebase and verify that Firebase actually sent that thing and whatnot. But that's an API call that we can worry about later. The point is, this area over here, this log me in and then okay, whoever you are. Once we have that information, now we can generate the JWT. In fact, we can ignore this part. We can just say you're logged in as George or whatever, and then get this for our purposes, because I don't actually need this right now. I'm just testing this server. So my goal for this session is to implement all this over here. So basically this protocol. And I think all I need to do is get this JWT module, and then it should be pretty straightforward. So let's find it. So right. So right now, I'm going to do it like a command line style situation here. But right now, the client, sorry, I guess I called it driver. And so driver is using Python's command CMD module, and that allows you to produce basically a REPL for your system, whatever that is. And you write you create a class that subclasses command.cmd, and then, or command.command, and then here we have a constructor. Here we have the 3 commands that it understands, or the 2 commands that it understands are C, which lists the challenges, and Q, which runs a test suite, and the end of file, which is like you've closed the input, so you're typing data, or you just hit Control D or whatever, and exit. So either one of these, the Q and hitting the end of the input, we just say return true, and that tells it that we're done with the. And if we run this, on driver, okay, well then we can ask it to. There's no prompt. I've told the prompt to be empty because I was putting this under test here. But we say C, and now that lists all the. There we go. Lists all the courses that are available to take, and that's actually coming out of a database. I did like 2 or 3, I think maybe 2 sessions ago. I set this up maybe 3 sessions ago. I did the rogo server. Since then, I actually stuck it into a database. Previously, I was just generating this on the fly, but now I actually have I have a little database, a little SQLite database that actually lists all the challenges that you can take, the courses. And the courses are generated with this file, org file. I'm a little off topic. I've covered that elsewhere. anyway, you create these courses, and this is actually a set of tests, start of a set of tests that are testing the client itself. So it's a self test, right? So you ought to be able to log in, or you start by quitting, and then first test is that you can just quit, and then the second test is that you type C and you get the list of courses, and those are hard coded in the demo database. And then there's some notes about how to add 2 tests. So far, there's only 2 tests. How to add more tests. Okay. Great. There are no. Yeah. So then the idea is that the tests themselves will be taken out of this org file and put into a database. And in fact, probably now we have the server, it's going to like pull the tests down from the server and then load them out of the database. So it doesn't really matter how they get into the. All right, I'm rambling. Okay, so anyway, so it would be nice if command would give you a way to you know how like in Git you can say like you say Git status, right? You don't have a shell. You have commands that you put in on the command line here. I don't know what that is. That was I was grepping for something. I lost track of it. We say git git status, and you get the status there. You can say git diff, and you can get so you can run these commands. Whereas here you're saying driver, and you say C, and you get that. But it would be nice if you could say driver dot if you could say driver C. You cannot. So I guess my thought would be we could actually do that. Like you could say if let's see, we do have sys. So if sys.argv, there's a count, I guess, but you would just say len normally. I'll just say print. What is count? One more than length, or is it same as length? Oh no, it's just argv is a list. So print len sys argv. So any list has a count method. All right, len sys argv. Those are the argument values that you pay. If it's greater than 1, I don't need to print it. I know what it is. If sys, there's always at least 1 in there, and that's the program that you're running. So in this case, it would be driver.py. It would be argv0. So then yes, else that. That's exactly what I want. So now if I save that and I say driver C, it should give, yes, that's exactly what I want. Okay, so gs driver, and we can say git commit m driver.py, allow one command, allow running a command from the command line. Command from command line. All right, so now we can say driver. No, I guess I could say to show, make sure yeah, that was the only change. So we can say git commit -m, not git commit, sorry, driver C. That should work. And now we want to say driver login. And it should say we don't know what login is, which it does, but it also doesn't know where standard out is, right? So, but the actual error is rogo driver object has no do login, and during the handling of that, we couldn't find standard out. Okay, no problem. This is totally against PEP 8, but I like compact code. Yeah, it's gonna be mad at me. More action. Can I ignore this? Let other people. You still code in Godot? Hi there. Yes, I do. In fact, I'm writing this to. This is a test server for testing some things. One of which is written in Godot. But today I'm working in Python. Okay. So I need to put a login method in here. So let's do it at the top, because these are all like commands that are more for the protocol here. So do login self arg login to the server. All right. So when we log in, so do login, that over here. That needs to talk to the server and get this. So we do have a client. So we have this client called rogo client. Rogo client knows where the code is running. And so we need to give we need like a generic thing here, like def do. We'll give it a name. This all just got auto generated for me. Username equals host self URL plus login. Okay. JSON equals username. Okay. But we actually don't want login. We want something else. I guess what I wanted to say here was def do something. What would I want this to be? How about post? We'll just call it post for now. We're going to say self, and we're going to go to URL, which would be a URL fragment and some data. Request post self URL JSON equals data. How about JSON dump? Oh no, I think you just pass in the data, right? Yeah, because here you're just passing in. So assuming it was right here, it's right here. So, and then return. Yes, that's exactly. And instead of login here, we probably want what? We definitely want get pre is kind of a funny name. Like we want to call it something else. We definitely want get JWT. So get JWT is one of them. Get JWT. Self post. Actually, we want to return self post. It can be a post. I don't care. Yeah, that's what I want. So make sure that has that on there, and then we're going to say get JWT, and then yeah, no data, and then we're going to get the. I think that's it. We're going to request the server, ask it to get JWT, and then I mean, really, it could just be a. I'll work out what the URLs actually should be later, because it probably should be more restful. I'm just going to say get pre and get JWT. I don't know what the names of these things should be. Maybe get pre token. Pre token. So get pre, get JWT. How about login pre and login JWT? Login pre and login JWT. And in both cases, we'll return something called a token. All right, and then in the driver, let's put the driver up on the left over here. So all this stuff can go away. I don't need any of this open. So in client, we will ask it to do this, and then in the server, which is called app.py, we will have app.route, route. I'm going to say login pre. I don't know where the /c came from. Oh, it's copying this. All right, so login pre, and that is going to be okay. That's fine. I like this Copilot thing. It knows what's going on. Like it knows the context of what I've already typed. I think it's mad because it wants an extra space there. Okay, so that's about right. And is JSON imported here? I think so because it's not complaining yet. And this is what it's called as pre and JWT. All right, so if I go here now, we don't know yet. So in the driver, when we say login, not client.login, but rather get pre token. So pre equals self client get pre token. Something like pre equals pre. Actually, I think you can say this now in Python. You can say pre equals pre, right? No, you cannot. I don't know why I thought you could say that. So in that case, in the client, we're going to say JWT pre equals okay. Happy with that? Here, pre-token needs there is no arg. Just log in. Now we get the JWT back. We could put that in there. That's just for debugging purposes. You alt shifting, yeah, and then probably the same thing. All right, so let's try that. This is already running. We have two things running: stop driver and stop rogo. Driver running and run driver. Oh, not driver. We want to run the server. Like, I don't think we need to run the server. I think whenever we save something, app.py, say this, yeah, it restarts. Oh, that's interesting. What does this do? Okay, what happens when you I'm curious what that little command was doing. Okay, this did not work. Oh, because we didn't return test token P. So JSON decoding error. And we need to tell it. I guess Flask wants it to be. How do we tell Flask that Flask return JSON? Got to tell it what the header is. Oh, so just return the data. We don't even need this. So if we return data, then we get JSON. That's interesting. If I need this, I'll keep that one up. That's just reference. Probably all this stuff is garbage. Done with that, done with that, with all this stuff. Closing tabs, close. It's all Firebase stuff. This was something that I looked at. I'm going to mark this as something to read. Done. But I don't think it's important right now. So this I will keep for a little bit later today. Now I've lost the ability to resize a browser window. Driving me nuts too. I used to do that all the time. Anyway, not important. Okay, other browser. Okay. And here's another thing I'm going to be using in just a minute. All right, so now anyway, I'm returning data. So now if I go back to shell here, run that again and say login. Okay, that did not work. So let's find out what's happening there. Go here. And we go to / login get. Oh, okay. Login pre. Token pre. That's what I would expect. And it's in fixed with font, so that tells me that it is JSON, but let's just double check. It should tell me that that is the headers. It should say that the font's header is application JSON. Yeah, so Flask did that work of turning that in. Okay, so now why didn't it work? Oh wait, is it this line that's failing? No. Oh, it is. It's this line that's failing. No, it's this line that's failing. Client.py JSON. Expecting value, line 1, column 1, character 0. I'm guessing I'm sending the wrong pre-token post login pre. So we are getting here. This is the content that's being returned. /login/pre. So it does get called, although I'm surprised I don't see something in the. Let's just put a. Login pre. I would totally expect that to work. Returns this, which winds up on the screen as or on the response as this. Oh, is it because it's a post? That's what it is. So here we could just have method equals get, and then could return like a little chunk of HTML. It was just like a form. Method equals post login pre. Yes, that's right. Form, and then just that's it. So if we go to login pre here, whoop, get login pre, post login pre, say login, and we get the pre token. Well, we should probably say get pre token. Get pre token. Get pre token. Login token equals pre. Okay, now we can take that and paste it into wherever. I have some thoughts about how you can organize a web application a little bit differently. I like Flask as a good starting point, but I'm not sure that it plays well with HTMX and the RESTful design. But as I'm going along, I'm trying to make it something that you can kind of explore with a with web browser as opposed to get. So when you do the get request, it's going to do it's going to give you back some HTML. Yep, that's what I want. That's what I want. But we also need here name equals pre. That's exactly right. And then we say like label pre token. Pre token, and then the token is How do you get the post body from Flask? Request.data, so request some login. I might just say import Flask. Right, and then get rid of this render template. Oh, I could have looked up here to see how to set application JSON. But actually, it looks like all of this could be just return this, right? Driver.py, rogo.py, dot shell. No, it's backwards. Rogo.py will read testplan.org and test the driver. And all two tests pass. And if I put like return one test should fail, yeah. So yeah, so that was actually a better way to do that. So had I looked at this, I would have gotten this clunky way to do things when in fact you can just return the data. Thank you, Stack Overflow. I should go upvote that dude. Upvote. That was not the guy that I. All right, sorry, guy. I think I've closed that. I do have many Chrome windows. Chrome stuff. That's the one I'm using right now. JSON web tokens thing. I will probably use this in a minute. So keep this up just in case I want to refer to it. I don't think I need to refer to it. Got the idea. Look at it later if I want. Here's my, or that's the public version, server part, or rather the Firebase wrapper over the. Okay. So next up. Is it mad because this is not? It wants everything lined up that way. It wants 2 spaces between these 2 things. I find that stuff annoying. All that little pedantic formatting nonsense. But whatever. Okay, so import JSON, we no longer need that. Now, where do we say abort? Let's say Flask abort. Okay, and then we don't need this. Now we can say flask.request in. You can stage parts of it incrementally. Yes. You know, split it, right? S is split. Yes. 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 Split this. Why not split this hunk? Why not? No. After all that, I could have just said git add -I and just temporarily hidden these ones. So I just want to get rid of all this stuff. Login pre. Make Flask. Make Flask imports explicit. Use Flask namespace explicitly. And use explicit Flask. How about explicit Flask namespace and implicit JSON? All right. We can put this back. All right. All good. I think this is Alt-4 to hide the stuff down. All right, so after that refactoring, now I'm still back to putting this stuff working. I didn't commit that, so I only committed the part that was the refactoring. Didn't change any behavior. All right, the next step is to do what? I've lost track of what. We do get pre, return pre-token. I believe my test passed now. I don't think I tested it, but I believe they passed. Yes, and then I believe that if I say driver.py login, it's going to print out something using pre-token and JWT. Okay. JWT token is based on web token. Okay. So that's mocked up. Get pre-token, get blah, 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 blah. And now we're going to open a browser. So we say import web browser. And we will say web browser.open self client.url no. This comes before we get to JWT. So we do this because we get to JWT at the very end. So we request it. Oh no. Well, I would think that this doesn't block. We can do this in any order. No, but this blocks. So we make the JWT request, but then the response from get JWT is here. So these two are out of order. Because this is going to block. It's now hanging until this resolves. Do this, then do this. Okay. So I would expect now this to open, but I don't want login JWT. I want. Do I? So okay, so get JWT is the client request, but this is not. This would not be login JWT. This would be login some other thing. So login UI maybe. Login auth. I almost think like maybe we're not really logging into the system here. We're authenticating the system, right? So I'm gonna call this auth. JWT auth pre-token. Authentication for command line client. Flask has this concept of a They're called blueprints in Flask. They're like little composable. I think maybe this should be a composable, one of those composable things. Because now I want to say auth login. Like, so / login would be you logging in as a user, but auth login would be you logging in as a these things don't even have to have names, right? The name is redundant. This is what's important. This could be a lambda here, except it can't, right? Because you can't. I think the name should just be removed. Right, got a problem here. So render template login.html, fine. Data equals and I think what I do here wait, let me think. This is the case where I'm running on my local host port 5000. I think if I copy this directory to the static directory, so everything under site is what's on the Firebase site that's like hosted elsewhere. But if I want to log in locally, I think I can do that now. And then I think this GG auth thing can become login.html. I didn't need the dash r there. All right, so if I open that up again, static would be under templates. Login.html. So that's what I'm saying here, and then inside of here, okay, and then we can do something with free. But I think Right, so if I go now to, this should disappear, right? Right. So we say auth, it does nothing because it doesn't know anything about that. Auth login. So Firebase user is not signed in. I'm expecting this fail because it only knows about local. It's only going to authorize localhost. Localhost 5000 was on the whitelist for at Firebase. So I think if I do this, I think Flask does not know about right. So hopefully that's restarting that, right? That's it is restarting it. Okay, so now no, that's not what I want. That's not what I'm asking. Flask virtual host. Wait, am I crazy to think that? Okay. Is localhost somehow different from? Surely this is what's running. Surely this is what's powering localhost. What the heck is this? Is what else is running on my machine? Thinking Docker. Got some kind of Docker setup. I wouldn't expect anything else to be running. So running this HTTP server, yes, but not on. Oh, is this it? No, it'll be giving not found. And also, that's running on port 8080. Nothing else is running. I don't have a netstat on Windows, do I? Netstat-L. How about netstat-P TCP? And I want to say who's listening, so it normally would say netstat-L. But okay. All of these things are. Don't know what these are. We have two things running on 5000. I want to see who is owning process ID. B. That's that dash B. Okay. And I closed the one where I had link control. Opens this with, yeah. Stupid. That's dash that T, no, that T TCP, and then dash B, and then grep for 5000. But it puts it on the next line, so you have to do it like context. Python.b. Oh, is it? Rogo is not running. Okay, I have no idea why that is. Just kill all the Python processes. I guess my task manager could probably show the PID and process ID, and I could ask it for that. But anyway, okay, whatever. Yeah, now it can't connect. I don't know what was running that. Maybe I've got some malware opening up my system, or maybe I just somehow had a process that was lying around forever. All right, so run this. Now when I say localhost, it should work. On 5000. Yes, okay, that's Flask telling me. So I don't know what that other 400 was, 404 page was. All right, so localhost. Now if I go to auth login, I should get this page. User's not signed in, and I believe because I'm serving the static directory. User is signed in. Okay. I'm signed in. Okay. Why did that work exactly? Oh, I see. Because it worked because it because I told it to use this, even though. Oh, that's nice. So you can just use Firebase to log in. And you don't have to serve all this junk. This never got requested because it's giving me a 404, and in the log it never got. I don't need all this junk. This is all the junk that you had to post locally if you wanted to do. I don't know. I my last programming session on my last stream made me think I needed that, but I guess I don't. Shoot. Undo delete directory, put that all back. Wow, that's cool. That's all stuff I need. But I don't need it under. Oh, I had it under static. This is the one I don't need. This I do not need. Just to double check here, all I'm using here is login.htm, which is a copy of the Firebase site stuff. And all it says, you know, it has the same thing. Just don't. All it's doing, maximize this. I don't know how you can maximize. Close that. All it's doing is this. So this is running on localhost now, but because I told it to use this as the auth domain, it's just somehow magically working. So Firebase is taking care of that for me. That's really cool. This doesn't even serve. So when I go here, what I really want to do is auth login. User is signed in. Hello, Firebase. And if I say auth login pre equals hello, user is signed in. All right, so then here, okay, so it said console log what the result of that was. So what is the result? Code. User is signed in. Oh, if auth current user is signed in, else user is not signed in. Right, so now if auth current user is signed in, else they're unable to log in. Login failed. Logged in successfully. Logged in successfully, sending JWT. So if I refresh that, logged in successfully, sending JWT. Okay, and then we have this, and we should be able to say UID, so current user UID. Logged in successfully. So the current user has this UID. And I think there has something in here called a token. SS refresh token, access token. Okay, so we can say, oh, we've lost this. That was in a module, so we've lost this. But we copy object, store it as a global variable, and then we can say temp1 dot access token dot copy this to clipboard, copy string contents. And then if we go over here to this, I bet this is a web token. And it is. It has all kinds of stuff about me. That's me. Is that my little logo? Yeah. Oh, that's the old logo. Right, because that's my personal version. And then the high res version is Engine Store, the one I use on the channel. And then there's the super low res version that's like pixelated for Engine Stream. All right, that's kind of cool. All right, so anyway, I can send this back. All right, so now all right, that's interesting. So all that stuff happens in an iframe. We get the Firebase extracts all that data from the iframe and logs me in and gives me this token. All right, so how did I get it? Here. So access token, current user access token. All right. At some point I have to like select how you can log in. But now, right? Now we should be logged in. I should put this in a function. So call this once we're logged in. Call this once we're logged in. On success function on success on login success. How about I think we say on login success, right? But I'm gonna have to move this in a bit because we could get it immediately up here. But if we don't get it up here, then it won't be this. What's going to happen is I'm going to move all this stuff So like this should be called like async function attempt login. So if not auth current user, await attempt login, which is this. But the point is that this is going to take a parameter, and so we're going to say attempt login with Google, attempt login with GitHub, and so on. Method. Case method. Switch method. Switch method. Yes, I want that, but that's way too. Say, and we'll say break. It knows what I want. What's wrong with this? I thought you could reassign a let binding. Why can't you reassign a let binding? That is the whole point of let. And then default console log provider specified. Yeah, now it's letting me do it. I don't know why I didn't let me do it. Oh, because it was saying const provider inside this switch block, I think. We don't need that. Yes, and as soon as we put that, as soon as I had another one of those, then wait, that went away. All right, so now we can assign him with the provider and get redirected. Okay. I think I should put this up top. I like to put all my functions up top, function definitions near the top of the stack. Top of the code base, I guess. Oh, we change this to how. GitHub, Google, no provider specified. And then this is also going to be up there at the top. In fact, I'll probably move this to like a JS file. I don't have to indent it. Do I need this right now? That's obviously what it is. Or, main code. So we're going to log in with Let's try GitHub. Because in my last stream, that didn't work. I think that's now working. So if I go here to say logged in successfully, sending JWT. Oh, because I'm still logged in. So sign out, refresh. Hello Firebase, say I'm not logged in. Oh. Okay, stop. Oh, stop. Okay, GitHub is not working. Google is working. So let's change it to Google. And we'll do it again. Localhost 5000. Auth. Okay. Then on login success, should have said logged in successfully sending JWT. I think it did. Logged in successfully sending JWT. Right, so what we actually want to do here all right, so this is a template. So we can say if pre end if. Oh, we say else alert no pre equals no pre equals xxx in the URL. Not sending JWT, okay. And then that probably also gave me an error saying that that's a function. Yeah, on login success is not defined. No, don't want that's all that stuff. Not sending JWT. Right, so that's actually a fine condition. We can just right. So auth current user get ID token. How is that different from just one thing I don't like about modules in JavaScript is you can't hard to get at them, right? We can say window.auth equals auth. Right? And then auth should be something. So auth.current user now exists, and then get ID token. That looks like the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. I don't know why I need that. Basically, because now that we have current user, then we don't have to wait for it. So on logged in successfully, sending JWT. So we want to say I don't think we want to. I think now we redirect this page. We're going to redirect this page. So the protocol. Right, so we've done this. We've done this. We've done this. Sent the pre-token. We've logged in, and we come here. There's redirect to the server, and then now we want to redirect again. Actually, no. Hang on. So what is this? Hang on. This is not a redirect. This is the success. So we want to say auth success. So redirect to that. Redirect. And then whatever this is, we will copy this. This part is not part of Firebase. Firebase is doing. We do a redirect. And now we're going to send back success. Success. So really this should be like document on login success, document location equals success was auth success. And we give it back the pre. That's not a JavaScript string. That is. Isn't it just like this though? Oh, it really is too. Okay. And I think I'd rather make this a form post. So we would say document success form submit. Yeah, that's what I want. On login success, document success form. And then it needs to have a hidden field called auth. Auth ID. What's it called on Firebase? It doesn't matter what Firebase calls it. Access token. Right, so we send the access token back. Just auth current user access token. What's this access underscore token? Why did it give me that as a... All right, so on login success, document success form, access token value equals auth current user access token. we don't have to do this. We don't have to define a thing like this. Let's just say if auth current user, if pre, then if auth current user. Well, we just call it, move it up here. I'm going back and forth on this matter. I'm trying to keep my code clean, but it does not matter. Why is my face not in the camera's supposed to track my head? There we go. Well, what, I turn aside? Whatever. Okay. If success form access token value equals, and we have to make the form, and then document pre-token, success form pre-token value equals but it's not going to come in that way. It's actually going to come in from the URL because we're serving it. Right. So, okay, this works fine. This winds up working fine. Because we're loading it in, I guess, over here. Here, we're going to load it in as a parameter here. So we parse it on the server, stick it in here, and so we don't have to parse it again on the client. Okay. So it shouldn't actually break if this is just empty. It should be fine, except when you submit this form, to say I don't know what to do. You didn't pass it, like something went wrong. Probably should be using, you should probably not connect to this directly. Maybe if so over here, if we gave it like a default value of, right, only visit this page by running code rogo. Oh my gosh, it already knows what that is. And then to log in directly, go to a href login. I don't think that exists yet, but here we go. And then this can be here, and then this can be down here. So if we just go to that page now, it should not say that. It should say this. Auth login. All right, what happens if we look at the source code? Somehow this pre thing is not getting set. This is not. It didn't. Type conversion dict. I don't know where that came from. I don't know why that's not running. I'm just going to refresh this thing, because that should be the default. Right? How the get protocol works. Yeah, key is pre, default is whatever. Default to be returned if the data can't be the default. Am I mistaken about how this works? Oh, context. Okay, so pre equals pre. Or no, we just do data. Like that. Okay, so that's the problem. Log in directly, go to. And if we just do this, then we say login, and then this will be this with nothing. This should just be called get login. And these names do not matter, so they're redundant. Hello, Firebase. It says error reading properties of undefined. Yeah, it's a success form. I don't know why it's Oh, I see, because you want to read it and then you're going to set it. Okay. So access token needs, yeah, it's mad because the form doesn't. What I expect. All right. So up here above that, we would put a form. Have to be hidden? Not really. I'll make it method equals post action equals success auth success input type. You should be hidden at some point, but we'll just keep them. Text pre-token and access token. And then input type submit value submit. Right. And this is again if pre is not none. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Then if we say auth login, and then if we say auth login pre equals hello, that should say pre. Value equals and then we don't actually need to set it up here because we're setting it. We don't need to do it this way. I didn't give the success form a name. Form ID equals success form. Success form access token. Why can't you do that? Document success form. So you just say successful. There we go. So it filled out the form, submitted it, and now we should have auth success here. And if the method equals post auth success, and then we say flask dot request form get, and those two fields. We expect those two fields. Access token and pre-token. Pre-token pre equals this, and then ac equals access token. And then we're going to return like some Am I crazy to think in Python you used to be able to use backticks? Python. Yeah, that used to do something, I think. Ages ago. But it like ran the Oh, repr. Not what I thought. Okay, whatever. That's okay. Success. You can close this window now. You have successfully logged in. Feel free to close this window. Close this window. You can close this browser tab. You may now close this browser tab. You can close this. You can close this space, close the browser tab. Logged in. All right. That's what we're expecting to see. And so now let's go back here where we say web browser open in the driver. We're not going to go to client URL. We're going to go to auth, login, and the pre is going to be the prefix. All right, so now let's try this whole process. Close this, close this, close this, and here, my daughter is yelling at my wife, like she got an owie or something. Okay, it's under control. I didn't need to do any of that stuff. Okay, driver.py login. I should get the web browser pop up. Oh. Get pre-token rogo client is out of date. Client is not login pre, it's auth login pre and auth login J. Okay. Run again. It's just auth pre and auth JWT. Run again. Boom, it opened. Am I logged in? What's happening? Something happened here. That should have worked. Error unauthorized domain. Ah, because it says 12 Okay, so we need to change this to localhost in the client. Okay. And now, so let's try that again. How did it get? Okay, that's not right. Right, because I haven't done the thing where it waits for the login to happen. Token is this. Like it's already got something. It's already printed this. But that's what he's logged in. Okay. There was a post to success and a post to auth JWT. I'm going to go to login so I can log out. Sign out button is not doing its job. It logs me out, but then logs me back in. So I need to like. Where is the sign out button? On this, it's this. I don't want version 8. I want this one. Auth. Google Auth provider. But what am I doing? Why am I even looking at this? Basically, Google has authorized. Basically, on Google, I've authorized this application to do something. So what I really want, I'm kind of like, what I really want is just to not immediately log me in. So what we really want to say is like show login page. Show login box. And then here, this is probably part of function show login box. It's not part of this, it's where is attempt login being called? So I deleted attempt login. So this should really be in on logins. It should be in attempt login. Auth current user. But also, if not, right, if not auth current user, this should say show login show login, but that's fine. And then function show login buttons. So document is there show? No. CSS. All right. CSS is part of the DOM. Interesting. Okay. So login buttons, that surprises me a little bit, but let's see. I'm not entirely sure that's right. Let's say div ID equals login buttons. Yep, login with Google, login with GitHub. That's exactly what I wanted. Might be nice to have a little icon, but whatever. sign out button. All right, so we do this, and then based on whether we need to log in or not, I think it's giving me an error in the console telling me the thing that I thought was not. Yeah, it's not a. Vanilla JS. How do you set a dot style? I don't know where it got the CSS thing from. Style display equals block. But I should do this now. Let's just do that. I could test together. Style display equals. That's what. And so just double test that. That should happen by default. It did not. What did I do wrong? Login buttons, document get element by ID, login button style dot display block. Okay, so where does this? If there's a current user, then we'll say sign out. Sign out. Else, which is this here. Else login buttons. And then whichever one we picked, document get element by ID. I'll call this EID. EID. Style display block. Right, so we're logged in, we can sign out. We are signed out. Now if I refresh, yeah, now I get to pick whether I want to log in with Google, log in with GitHub. If I log in with GitHub, we get an infinite loop error because it's not configured properly. But if I log in with Google, attempt login is not defined. Right, because it's not exported to the base. We can say window attempt login equals attempt login. And if we log in with Google, hello Firebase, we're good. Now we can sign out. It doesn't show anything, but we are signed out. And then we could say document location. Let's sign out auth, then document location reload. Log in with Google. Sign out. Log in with Google. Perfect. Okay. A lot of tedious stuff, but it works. All right, so now back to the command line. Here we're logged out. Oh, we're logged in, so this should just immediately sends the pre-token. I went wrong again. Oh, okay. So now if we're running this, now we have to do something else because we're not just statically waiting for them to press to sign in, right? All right, so we should say if pre, if we have a pre thing at all, then if it's this, so we say one thing, and we say else, and then we need an end if for down here. Okay, end if here. So if it's empty, so if we have a pre and it's this, then we say don't only visit this way. Otherwise, we say we have to instantiate the immediate trigger to log in, right? Right? No, we say we're going to move this into the code here. So this sign out stuff, this happens only if it's the main login page. I think we can say this like main login page logic, main login page. And we say if auth current user, then we do auth login success, else document.get element by ID login buttons players block. Yeah. And we probably really should encapsulate this as a function show login buttons. And we only have it in one place. Function show login buttons. This and how about show and just give it an AID. Yeah. And that way we can say show EID, and here we could say show login buttons. And this needs to be indented just a little. Okay, so now we go here. Yes, we log in immediately. And if we go to, all right, so just to double check that, if we go here, log in, it should immediately log us in. Yes. And then if we go to login, then we can sign out. And we come here, close this, close this, close this, close this, close this. Run it again, and it should ask us how to log in. We don't need to show this either. This can also be hidden. Full form can be hidden. They display. This style display. Probably do this with the style sheet. Okay, so we get to this page, gives us our pre token. Okay, log in with Google. Sees we do that. And if it fails, then it should say login failed, and then we don't really know what to do with that. But I'm okay with that. I can worry about that later. If it fails the other way, if it fails right now with the GitHub login, that's because Firebase is misconfigured somehow. So that's what's causing it to do that infinite loop of redirects. Actually, GitHub might be. I might have misconfigured it at GitHub. There's a little form you have to. Oh, quick! You can log in as me. Okay, authentication was approved. I'm going to move this out of the way. I think it's going to show something on the screen. Can't show. Also, for my personal account, I want. Oh, developer settings. Okay, so you have to go down here to developer settings. Go to your organization, you go to developer settings, auth apps. I have this here, which again, I think it shows parts of the sequence. The callback URL is hard coded to this. I think that's actually fine because this is a valid URL, and that's how the Google one is working. Right, this is what I would expect. Like some kind of error message. All right, so yeah, I've got some misconfiguration on the GitHub side. I don't know why that's happening. Because Firebase app.com is what we're saying this is. So this is exactly the same. So I don't know why this is happening. I'm not going to worry about it. I am going to worry about it, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. Okay. I like being able to see the structure. Oh, that's weird that the body's on top of the head. Why would the structure arrange it that way? Or alphabetically. I don't want it alphabetically. I just want to see the structure the way it's structured. All right, that makes more sense. Okay. All right, so I'm going to check this part in. I don't know if it's important to do that, but do it. That's get status. GS is get status. GD app.py. Basic, maybe like wireframe. How about prototype of the client auth workflow? Client auth protocol. That's good enough. So what's next? Next is we come back here. All right, so when we do this, log into the server, we're going to say get the token, did this, send back a pre-token, which is right now just the letter PRE, letters PRE in capitals. We're going to open it in the browser. We've done that. And now it sends this back. But right now, this is immediately sending back this message. So this is wrong. This immediately sends back the whatever, you know, it's not a signed JWT, but it sends back something saying JWT. Right? Sends driver.py login, right? Pre-token is success, and it's already immediately sent back this. So what needs to happen Hmm. So my issue is here. It's that when I do this, no, not this. Right, when we do the post for this, right, so first of all, this should take an argument, free, and then it should return JWT, right? And then JWT equals JWT. So if I run this, I would imagine this should now say JSON web token is pre and then JWT. None JWT. Okay, so I didn't send in the thing to the JWT here. I say do login equals pre get JWT. P equals none. And in the app, is that because I sent JSON? I think I'm sending JSON here. JWT. Request.json, get JSON. Request.json. So instead of request.app, instead of request.form get free token, request JSON get. Okay. I've kind of got this like hybrid API now where it's like half JSON, half whatever, but that's what I wanted to do. Okay. How about R equal, how about we say rec equals flask request rec JSON get pre if rec is JSON. Is that a function or a property? Property. Else rec.form, and then now it works either way. JWT is JWT. In general, I like being able to post whatever you want, and I think I want to abstract over this pattern here. Right, even here, same thing is I do the same concept. And likewise, I'm working up to the point where like somewhere around here I have like so I'm getting some data by I send a SQL to the relational database and it returns the data, and then I can return that data directly if I have the JSON protocol. But if I don't have the JSON protocol, then right. In other words, in the URL itself, you ought to be able to say what format you want, and you ought to be able to post whatever you want, and you ought to be able to get back whatever you want, and it should just know. That's how an API should work. And so it should give you HTML if you're looking in a browser, and then there should always be a button that says "Give me this as JSON." It does the same thing as JSON. So that's what I would like to see. I don't know why I'm doing this, but it works. Okay, so this runs and gives me back this. But what needs to happen is I need to pause execution of this thing in the middle of this one. This should wait. And that means this needs to be async. It needs to do that. And I don't think that's going to work. I think Flask is going to freak out of this because Flask is not a yeah. This screwed it up. So if we look at what actually ran over here, async extra in order to use async views. Interesting. Because I didn't think that was required. I thought last time we did this, last time I looked at this, I saw Flask async. This is what I got. I used Quark. Oh, I don't know what ASGI is. I know what Quart is. I didn't know what ASGI was. Yeah, asynchronous server gateway interface. Okay. Okay, so it seems like I don't have to switch over to Quark. I just have to reinstall this with pip install flask async. So, but I think I need to do it over here. So pip in the administrator panel, install flask async. I've never used an extra like this. What I did before was use Quart, and I think everything had to be async, which I didn't. I don't really want to do. I don't really want to switch everything over to. Yeah, you can't say. Yeah, you have to put this here in Quart. And I did that last time, and okay, but what is blinker? Try this. Quart requires blinker less than 0.6, but you have blinker which is incompatible. Hmm, I don't know. I don't like these nested dependencies. That drives me nuts. Like I'm depending on so many things that I don't understand. But let's just see what happens. Let's reload. Run this and see what it says in the. We successfully logged in. I did. Oh, but my VN does not. VN. Why is permission denied? I do not know enough about VN to do this. So stop this. Stop. But now I can run this. And now what do we do? I think that worked. Doesn't say anything about chance for me to use it in an await expression. That's fine. That makes sense. Okay, I have no idea how to express this in Python with the async and await stuff. So I want to Python await do like I want to do like a coroutine, right? But I want to await. I want a channel, all right? Coroutines and tasks. I think this is what I want. So okay, so what needs to happen? I said I was talking about this in the last stream. All right, so what we need is something like we need to call this like pre queue JW token queue login queue a thing that maps a place to hold. What would we call it? A place to holders to channels, async queues that will eventually yield the JWT token. All right, so now we say tokens, not token buffer, but a token queues. Right, and we're going to import async IO. Let's call this queues. A map. This maps pre-tokens to channels, to just async queues. That will eventually yield the JWT token. I guess I do know how to twist. So the queues is this. And when we, all right, so queue is going to be queues get pre, yeah, queue.get. But wait, rather we're going to say assert pre not in queues, reused repeated pre-token. Yeah, that's right. And then queues pre equals async IO queue. That's exactly right. And we're also going to call that queue. And we're going to wait queue.get. Then on success, we're going to say queues equals pre async IO. No, we're going to say queue equals queues pre try except key error. Yeah, something like that. Queue equals queues pre, and we're going to say queue dot put no wait, put no wait. Yeah, that should here except async queue. Yeah, something like that. Already used. It should be immediately, like, as soon as this is put in, it should immediately be taken out. I think this works. I think that was it. I think that was the entirety of the thing. We just use a queue. Pre-token not found. It is waiting there. It didn't give me back JQ or something like that. So pre-token not found. Here. And let's put we'll change this to a F string. So clearly that didn't, I don't know why that didn't work. What's wrong with this? Why can't I control C this? Kill it. If I kill the web server? Oop. Okay. Did that kill the Python? So I'm looking at my task manager. I think it did. Nope, it didn't. tangent code. Oh, running Leo somewhere. Python. I can just move up here and do this. So driver.py login. Pop up the window. Oh, no, this is not running. It is running. Okay. Pre token not found pre. Okay. So in that case, hang on a second. Why? Maybe I put the creation of the queue in the wrong place? Probably. Let's put this here. And then here we're going to say q equals q's pre if not pre in queues, turn pre not in queues. So when we create the pre token, then we put it in a queue. And then this should be pre. Random. We don't have a random string. Oh. Just gonna die every time? We gotta figure out a better way to do that. End it from the task manager. All right, let's run this again. Where did that come from? Oh, pre plus pre. It's just pre right now. To do random. Oh, we still haven't run this process, so now we run it. it again. Got a pre-token, success, and there we go. There's our token. That's a little funny because that's not a token that I'm generating. That's coming directly from ACC. Okay, so access token. Okay, so one thing we need to do validate token, validate ACC against auth provider, Firebase. Otherwise, you could send any old token. Just send any token. Otherwise, attacker could send any token. That's important. We have to do that. And so then we're going to say JWT is something. JWT is, I don't know what, it's a new thing that we're going to create. Well, it was our JWT, new JWT. Something like that. Not a random string, real. I want a real token. Real token. And then this is what we're going to put in the queue. Right. So the access token happens to be a JSON web token, but not what we want. All right. So running. Everything is set. Restarted. Log in. Success. And now we have, and it should say new token or whatever. New token, new JWT. All right. That is exactly what I wanted. I think these two steps are all that's left. So we need to pip install JWT. Virtual. Vn script. No, it's vn scripts .vn pip install JWT. And I think that is the leftmost tab in over here. All right, so we're going to say import JWT. JWT. And then we're going to say from JWT import JWT. I don't really like doing that, but as it says, it's shadowing the name. Oh, like JWT lib or something. That doesn't get in your way. All right, whatever. I guess JSON does. Okay, so so weird. What a weird sign to say instance equals JWT, and then you have to keep using it. I'm just gonna make a new one every time unless it turns out that's like painful to do. JWTX is equal to JWT. JWTO. OJWT. AJWT. JWTX. I don't know why it likes JWT, but not JWT. JWTX decode hack and UID. Unless we have that open somewhere, it says what it is. Yeah, so user ID. How about we'll just say email for now? Then get email. Hub is the subscriber name or user ID. How about we still have to validate this against the provider, and that needs to be pluggable because maybe you're not going to use Firebase with it. Why is it required? I don't. Actually, I saw that you could say unsecured, disabled by default. So you have to tell it what algorithm to use. How do you set the algorithm? At the docs page. Probably in JWT. You look at JWT, import JWT. Oh, let's say do verify equals false for now. So rid of that, and then do verify equals. Okay. Operation was attempted on something that is not a socket. Start that. Have to restart it. Over here, we run this again. We're on 3 hours now. Yep, that's what I wanted. So so I've successfully parsed this thing. I can't. I don't think I can verify it because I don't have the private key. That's the step where I have to ask Firebase or whoever to verify it for me. And once I do that, once it says yes, that's a good token, then I proceed to make the JWT. So okay, I'm not going to do that tonight. What I will do here is we'll say JWT equals JWTX encode. We don't have a payload. We don't have a key, do we? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. We'll encode this. Get out of my way. Move this down here. We could say dict here. UID. Email equals this. And now I will have to have a key. I will have to generate a key. How about data equals this? We'll make this a dictionary. And then JWT encode data. And Or maybe just leave it like this. See what happens. So to do sign with key. Successfully logged in. All right, so everything's good here. Now we close this and run this again. This octet is required. Or this, this, this. All right, so I got to learn some more about these JWT things, but I can just use a PEM file now if I want to use. Correct. So I need a PEM file. Ah. SSH keygen is what I'm thinking of. SSH, whoops, SSH keygen. Surely I have that. Yes. PRSAB 4096, and F is going to be rogo auth. That's not a PEM. Oh, the private key is just the thing. Okay, so move rogo auth key rogo auth .pem. I don't care if you see this. It's just on my local machine, and I'm not gonna check it in or anything. Let's just see if that works. So we got something that started with begin open SSH private key, and we'll see if that does the trick. We run, that didn't seem to do anything. Unsupported key type, okay. Like it's supposed to be a binary file. SSH keygen create PEM. mpem. Oh, I think I missed something there. -E. The private key. Oh, E is output to standard out. Okay, so that. an RSA private key. If I don't do that, it says open SSH private key. So then if I say -f and E and pen. All right, let's see if that worked. Looks like it got past that. If this works, I need to document what I just did because file not found private key.pen. Nope, don't need that. Doesn't seem to work. Basically, I left the passcode in. So Firebase pass public. Okay, well, I saw it was a key anyway. Public key. I don't want a public key. Private key is already in PEM format. Is that true? Type is RSA, B equals M, M. Let's try that again. It parsed it. Oh, but it parsed it. I didn't do the right thing. Public key. Private key. Okay, so I want to move rogo auth key to rogo auth key.pem and then stop this and start it again. I think this works. Token, blah, blah, blah. JSON web token. Okay. Now if I take this web token, I'm expecting and paste it into that checker thing. I expect it to have 2 keys. Instead of all this over here, like I'm pointing at the screen like you can see it. Yeah, that's what I expect. All right, this is good. Invalid signature because you don't know the private key. I guess I could paste this in, right? Again, this is not I'm actually going to use. Rogo auth key.m. Here's my key. I will delete and a public key. Valid signature. Oh, it didn't work. It didn't like that. So it doesn't like. Okay, well, that doesn't matter. That does not matter at all. Because if I paste the token in, then I do get it is able to recognize it. So that means I should be able to. It says invalid signature because it doesn't have this. But I should be able to verify it. And the way that would work is there'd be something that handles it on every request. So I still need to validate this against the auth provider. And then on every request, like it says here, do this. So add node to do validate access token from Firebase, and then check JWT on each request. But I think the hard part is done here. And I've been at this for 3.5 hours, so I think I am going to stop here. I think this was good. We implemented the protocol that's on the screen here, and then we did some stuff that was kind of fun with the async queue. Get 2 different Flask endpoints to talk to each other asynchronously, so 2 different connections talking to each other. There's still issues of like what happens, so like what happens on error handling. But I think the basics of this is done. So let's call this to-do list. And I think I will come back to this soon. Tomorrow, next day, whatever. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. And this was this was the biggest obstacle in my mind to like making all this work.